What if the real reason your relationship feels heavy is not lack of love, but two emotional bodies trying to love through completely different lunar rhythms? What if one person is trying to purify the relationship, while the other is silently absorbing every emotion, every silence, every ancestral wound, every unspoken fear? That is the hidden story of Ekadashi and Amavasya intimacy. This is not a light pairing. This is not the kind of relationship where everything becomes playful, romantic, expressive, and easy from the beginning. This is a pairing that can feel karmic, magnetic, private, spiritually charged, and emotionally confusing at the same time. And if you are in this kind of relationship, or if you have just come out of one, you may have asked yourself again and again, why did I feel so deeply connected yet so emotionally alone? Why did I feel desire but not emotional safety? Why did this person feel familiar but also difficult to reach? Why did love become discipline, silence, withdrawal, correction, and emotional exhaustion? Today, I want you to understand this clearly. Ekadashi Amavasya is not a naturally easy intimacy pairing. It has depth, it has karmic pull, it has spiritual possibility, but it does not automatically create softness, emotional relaxation, or consistent sexual warmth. This pairing is difficult because Ekadashi and Amavasya do not process intimacy in the same way. Ekadashi wants to refine. Amavasya wants to absorb. Ekadashi wants to purify. Amavasya wants to feel safe enough to reveal. Ekadashi seeks discipline, restraint, clarity, and inner power. Amavasya carries hidden emotional layers, ancestral memory, environmental sensitivity, and a deep need for non-judgmental containment. So when these two people come together, the relationship may not collapse because there is no attraction. It may collapse because the attraction is buried under emotional misreading. One person thinks, I am helping you become stronger. The other feels, you are not accepting my darkness. One person thinks, I need space to stay balanced. The other feels, you are abandoning me when I am most vulnerable. One person says, let us be disciplined. The other silently asks, can you simply hold me without correcting me? This is the core wound. In Ekadashi Amavasya intimacy, love often exists, but it does not always translate into emotional comfort. Let us begin with the Ekadashi emotional body. Ekadashi carries focus. It carries discipline. It carries restraint. It carries the power to fast, detox, research, write, speak, concentrate, and transform poison into strength. This is a warrior-like emotional body. It does not like waste. It does not like emotional pollution. It does not enjoy chaos. It wants the relationship to become cleaner, clearer, more purposeful, more spiritually refined. But here's the problem. When Ekadashi is immature, its discipline becomes emotional harshness. It may become impatient. It may become insensitive. It may become too focused on goals, duties, correctness, and self-control. It may start treating love like a test of character. It may start correcting the partner instead of comforting the partner. And in intimacy, that can feel cold because your partner may not need a lecture. They may not need a diagnosis. They may not need a spiritual explanation. They may need tenderness. Now look at Amavasya. Amavasya is not empty in the simple sense. It is hidden. It is dark. It is inward. It is private. It carries the energy of the unseen. It can be material-minded and practical, but underneath that practicality, there is a deep dependence on environment, emotional atmosphere, family patterns, ancestral impressions, and subtle influences. An Amavasya person may not always explain what they feel. They may absorb the mood of the room. They may sense rejection before it is spoken. They may withdraw before they are wounded more deeply. They may look quiet from outside, but inside there can be layers of memory, fear, desire, insecurity, and longing. And this is where Ekadashi and Amavasya struggle. Ekadashi wants clarity. Amavasya carries atmosphere. Ekadashi wants the issue named. Amavasya feels the issue as a field. Ekadashi wants discipline. Amavasya wants safety. Ekadashi may say, tell me exactly what is wrong. Amavasya may not know how to say it because what is wrong may not be one event. It may be tone. It may be distance. It may be emotional climate. It may be the way silence feels after an argument. It may be the way the body closes when it feels judged. So the Ekadashi person becomes frustrated. Why are you so unclear? Why are you so moody? Why do you withdraw instead of speaking? Why do I always have to guess? And the Amavasya person silently feels wounded. Why are you so sharp? Why do you make me explain pain before you believe it? Why do you turn my vulnerability into something to fix? Why do I feel more alone after opening up to you? This is not ordinary incompatibility. This is emotional rhythm incompatibility. One is trying to refine the relationship through control. The other is trying to survive the relationship through withdrawal. Now, intellectually, this pairing can be very interesting but also frustrating. The Ekadashi mind can be focused, analytical, disciplined, research-oriented, and sharp with speech. It can cut through excuses. It can see patterns. It can detect weakness. It can speak with force. The Amavasya mind may not always operate in straight lines. It is instinctive. It is influenced by surroundings. It may be practical in worldly matters, but emotionally, it can move through shadows, impressions, memories, and unspoken fears. So when intellectual conflict arises, Ekadashi may demand structure. Amavasya may need emotional permission first. Ekadashi says, "Let us be rational." Amavasya feels, "You are using rationality to avoid my pain." Ekadashi says, "This is the solution." Amavasya feels, "You did not even understand the wound." Ekadashi says, "Why are you making this emotional?" Amavasya feels, "Because it is emotional." This is why many Ekadashi Amavasya relationships can become mentally exhausting. The conversations repeat. The same issue returns, the same silence comes back, the same correction hurts again, the same withdrawal creates suspicion again, and slowly both begin to feel misunderstood. The Ekadashi person feels, "I am trying to bring order, but they keep bringing emotional fog." The Amavasya person feels, "I am trying to show my depth, but they keep treating me like a problem." This is the beginning of hidden enmity, not hatred, not open hostility, hidden enmity, that subtle feeling that says, "The way you love me also hurts me." The Ekadashi person's medicine feels like judgment to Amavasya. The Amavasya person's depth feels like disorder to Ekadashi. Now let us speak honestly about emotional intimacy. This pairing can feel very deep, but depth is not the same as emotional safety. Many people mistake intensity for compatibility. They mistake karmic attraction for sustainable love. They mistake private bonding for true emotional nourishment. Ekadashi Amavasya can create a private world. It can create spiritual conversations. It can create moments of silence where both feel something unspoken. It can create a strange sense that this person has entered a hidden room inside you. But after the attraction settles, the real question appears. Can Ekadashi be tender with Amavasya's darkness? Can Amavasya be clear with Ekadashi's need for order? Because without that, the relationship becomes one-sided. Ekadashi starts feeling like the responsible one. Amavasya starts feeling like the wounded one. Ekadashi becomes the purifier. Amavasya becomes the shadow carrier. Ekadashi becomes the one who says change. Amavasya becomes the one who silently says, "Accept me first." And when this pattern hardens, love becomes tiring. For couples, this can show up as emotional distance despite staying together. You may be sharing the same home, same bed, same responsibilities, same social identity, but emotionally, you are living in two different lunar rooms. One of you is disciplined, overworking, controlling desire, suppressing need, trying to stay strong. The other is absorbing, retreating, becoming quiet, feeling unseen, waiting for a softer approach. And then intimacy becomes functional. You talk about bills, you talk about duties, you talk about family, you talk about what needs to be done, but you stop talking about fear, you stop talking about longing, you stop talking about desire, you stop talking about loneliness. That is when the relationship becomes dry. Now for singles, this pairing teaches a powerful lesson. Do not choose depth alone. Just because someone feels mysterious does not mean they can meet you emotionally. Just because someone feels disciplined does not mean they can hold your vulnerability. Just because a bond feels karmic does not mean it is automatically healthy. If you are Ekadashi, ask yourself, am I attracted to Amavasya because I want to rescue, purify, discipline, or decode them? Because that is not love. That is control wearing spiritual clothing. If you are Amavasya, ask yourself, am I attracted to Ekadashi because I want someone strong enough to organize my inner chaos? Because that can become dependency. The mature relationship is not one person fixing the other. It is two people learning how their emotional bodies actually function. Now, for those who are divorced or healing from a breakup, this pairing can leave a very particular wound. You may not only miss the person, you may miss the hidden world you created with them. You may remember the silence, the intensity, the private understanding, the moments where words were not needed. But you must also remember the cost. Did you feel emotionally safe? Did you feel desired without pressure? Did you feel heard without being corrected? Did you feel loved without disappearing? Did the relationship make you more alive or more guarded? Because Ekadashi Amavasya can keep people attached through unfinished emotional material. There may be guilt. There may be longing. There may be ancestral heaviness. There may be a feeling that something was incomplete. But incompletion is not always a sign to return. Sometimes it is a sign that the relationship opened a karmic layer, but did not have the maturity to heal it. Now let us go deeper into sexual compatibility. Sexually, Ekadashi and Amavasya can have attraction, but it is not always consistent. Ekadashi sexuality is controlled, intentional, private, and often linked to trust and discipline. Desire may be strong, but it is not always freely expressed. Ekadashi can hold back, it can regulate, it can deny, it can spiritualize desire. It may need emotional cleanliness before sexual openness. Amavasya sexuality is more atmospheric. It depends on mood, environment, emotional safety, and hidden trust. Desire may rise from depth, mystery, privacy, and a feeling of being accepted without exposure. So what happens? Ekadashi may approach intimacy with restraint. Amavasya may read restraint as rejection. Amavasya may withdraw when emotionally hurt. Ekadashi may read withdrawal as manipulation or instability. Ekadashi may need order before sex. Amavasya may need tenderness before sex. Ekadashi may want desire to be refined. Amavasya may want desire to be emotionally enveloping. This can create sexual confusion. There may be periods of intense closeness, followed by distance. There may be longing, but not enough emotional safety to express it. There may be physical intimacy without emotional surrender. There may be emotional heaviness that kills desire before it can become pleasurable. And the most dangerous pattern is this. Ekadashi becomes sexually restrained because the emotional field feels messy. Amavasya becomes sexually withdrawn because the emotional field feels cold. Now both feel unwanted. Ekadashi feels, you are too complicated. Amavasya feels, you do not truly want me. This is how desire becomes silent resentment. To make sexuality work in this pairing, you cannot treat sex as only physical. You must treat it as emotional atmosphere. The bedroom must not become a place of performance. It must become a place of trust. The Ekadashi person must reduce correction and increase warmth. The Amavasya person must reduce withdrawal and increase honest expression. There must be slow pacing. There must be privacy. There must be emotional repair before physical closeness. There must be no punishment through silence. There must be no discipline through emotional coldness. This pairing needs intimacy rituals, not mechanical routine. Ritual, a quiet evening, a clean space, a soft conversation, a hand held without demand, a confession without immediate advice, a moment of silence that does not feel like abandonment, a touch that says, I am here, not perform for me. Now let us speak about maturity. The relationship works only when Ekadashi stops acting superior because it can control itself. Self-restraint is powerful, but when self-restraint becomes emotional pride, it wounds the partner. Ekadashi must learn this. Your partner is not impure because they feel deeply. Your partner is not weak because they absorb the atmosphere. Your partner is not immature because they need tenderness before clarity. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is not correct. It is hold. And Amavasya must also mature. Sensitivity is real, but sensitivity cannot become permanent vagueness. Depth is real, but depth cannot become secrecy. Mood is real, but mood cannot become the only language. Amavasya must learn this. Your partner cannot love what you never reveal. Your partner cannot repair what you only hint at. Your partner cannot keep entering darkness without a lamp. So Ekadashi must soften. Amavasya must clarify. Ekadashi must stop purifying the partner. Amavasya must stop hiding inside emotional fog. Ekadashi must offer compassion. Amavasya must offer communication. Now, what lifestyle supports this relationship? This pair cannot survive emotional noise for long. They need a quiet, intentional life. They need privacy. They need a peaceful home. They need boundaries with family. They need financial clarity. They need spiritual practice. They need silence that heals, not silence that punishes. Fasting, meditation, detox, prayer, mantra, journaling, therapy, ancestral healing, and emotional routines can help this pair tremendously. But beware of spiritual bypassing. Do not use spirituality to avoid intimacy. Do not say, I am detached, when actually you are afraid to feel. Do not say, I need space, when actually you are punishing the other. Do not say this is karmic when actually you are refusing accountability. For Ekadashi Amavasya, lifestyle is not a side issue. It is central. A chaotic lifestyle will make Amavasya unstable and Ekadashi irritated. Too much social interference will make Amavasya absorb external noise and make Ekadashi retreat into control. Overwork will make Ekadashi dry and unavailable. Emotional secrecy will make Amavasya unreachable. So if this pair wants to work, both must choose a life that supports inner regulation, not drama, not constant social comparison, not family interference, not emotional guessing, not sexual pressure, not spiritual superiority. This pair needs a sacred container. Now let me give you the highest possibility of this relationship. At its highest, Ekadashi and Amavasya can become a relationship of purification and deep ancestral healing. Ekadashi says, let us become clearer. Amavasya says, let us honor what is hidden. Ekadashi brings discipline. Amavasya brings depth. Ekadashi brings restraint. Amavasya brings mystery. Ekadashi brings the ability to transform poison. Amavasya brings awareness of where the poison came from. Together, they can create a relationship that is not shallow. They can build a life of spiritual seriousness, emotional privacy, shared healing, and deep loyalty. But this happens only when both are mature. Otherwise, the same pairing becomes emotionally dry, sexually inconsistent, mentally frustrating, and silently painful. So here is the truth. Ekadashi Amavasya is not a casual romance pairing. It is not a naturally playful pairing. It is not a simple compatibility match. It is a pairing that asks, can discipline become tenderness? Can darkness become honesty? Can silence become sacred instead of avoidant? Can desire survive emotional heaviness? Can two people stop judging each other's emotional rhythm? Because if they cannot, love becomes one-sided. One gives structure but not softness. The other gives depth but not clarity. One feels burdened, the other feels unseen. One becomes the judge, the other becomes the ghost. But if they can mature, this relationship can become powerful. Not easy, powerful. Not always romantic in the obvious way, but deeply transformative. Not always sexually spontaneous, but capable of sacred intimacy. Not always emotionally light, but capable of profound healing. So if you are in an Ekadashi Amavasya connection, do not ask only, do we love each other? Ask better questions. Do I feel safe with this person? Do I feel seen without being corrected? Do I communicate instead of disappearing? Do I use discipline to protect love or to control love? Do I use silence to heal or to punish? Do we create warmth after conflict, or do we just move on without repair? Do we have intimacy or only attachment? Because the future of this pairing depends on emotional honesty. Ekadashi must say, I will not make your darkness my enemy. Amavasya must say, I will not make my darkness your burden. Ekadashi must say, I will bring discipline, but I will not remove tenderness. Amavasya must say, I will bring depth, but I will not hide from clarity. That is when the relationship begins to heal. And if you are healing from such a relationship, understand this. You were not foolish for feeling the depth. You were not wrong for sensing the karmic pull. You were not imagining the connection. But depth without maturity becomes pain. Spiritual attraction without emotional skill becomes confusion. Silence without trust becomes loneliness. Desire without safety becomes shutdown. So take the lesson, not just the longing. If this relationship is still alive, build it consciously. If it has ended, recover your emotional body with dignity. If you are single, learn to recognize the difference between karmic intensity and sustainable intimacy. Because compatibility is not just about attraction. Compatibility is about whether your emotional bodies can create repair, trust, softness, desire, truth, and peace over time. Ekadashi and Amavasya can love each other, but they must not love blindly. They must love with maturity. They must love with acceptance. They must love with emotional responsibility. They must love with the courage to say, your way of feeling is not wrong just because it is different from mine. And that is the real secret of this pairing. Ekadashi teaches Amavasya that darkness can be purified. Amavasya teaches Ekadashi that darkness must first be accepted. If you want to understand your own Tithi, your partner's Tithi, your emotional compatibility, your intimacy blocks, your attraction patterns, and why certain relationships keep repeating in your life, you can connect with me for a deep intimacy reading and compatibility reading. Because sometimes the problem is not that love is missing. Sometimes the problem is that two emotional bodies are speaking different lunar languages. and no one has taught you how to translate them.